Hello and welcome out to this week's episode of the Gamers Council. I'm your host, WebDave, along with my co-host, RHETRI. RHETRI, how you doing, buddy?
Good. I forgot. I got a camera that does things when I do hand gestures, so I got to keep my hands down. It just awkwardly zooms way into my face. I don't know why it does that.
Keep your hands in your lap too long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, well, hey, still a blip. Anyways,
as long as you got a grip on your subjects. Hey, welcome, buddy.
Exactly. I'm doing good, man. Happy to be here Sunday night. I've been playing some Tales of Kinzara. Great game, by the way. If you want to beat your head against the wall for a while, I'm in Act 3, and damn, I don't know if I'm just not good at the game or I'm having troubles, man, right now. But I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, it should be a good podcast tonight. We got some hot topics, man. So I'm excited to.
We do have hot topics, and we've got even hotter guests. We have the one and only Jesse Norris. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm busy, like always. I'm doing well, though. Hope you guys are doing good. Just been working all weekend because I don't know how to stop. I probably should, but it's fun. Video games are very fun to play.
It is.
I'm doing good.
We're so blessed to have you on tonight. We know that you are busy, and we do appreciate you making some time for us tonight because, like I said, it's gaming. There's always something to talk about. So we appreciate you being here. So thank you so much, and looking forward to hearing what you have to say about things. Oh, you're welcome. And then we've got the one and only returning guest, Pixel Bit G. Pixel, how you doing, buddy?
I am good, sir.
All right.
Glad to be back on. My brother WebDave and RHETRI, and howdy to Jesse. This is the first time. Kind of legend in the community just right here. So yeah, I was saying before you couldn't hear me when I said I backed your book some time ago. So yeah, you guys are kind of legendary. So welcome.
There you go.
Yeah, we've been going a surprisingly long time now, and it finally feels like legit. It's got me and John full time trying to get to a place where we can get. It would be nice to get Nick in, though he would then have to work. That's probably not going to happen.
Right.
But yeah, it's
like
cool. Yeah. We've gotten a lot of support from the community, never having to jump into the more clickbaity stuff or anything like that. Little focus on SEO and whatnot, but the good kind, not the shitty kind.
Yeah,
so it's been a lot of fun.
I've never had to flame you guys, so that says a lot for the work that you guys are doing. So
thank you.
Pleasure to have you in the community. You guys like Xbox a little bit, it seems.
Just a little.
Yeah, just a little.
Just a little bit, yes.
Oh, goodness. And also to let everybody know that we do have actually a surprise guest that's going to be joining us a little later, and that is going to be Hargeet Chani. Right now, he's currently doing a show with Fonz, the Game Talk Live. And but he's going to be joining us here in just a little bit to talk about his book for a few minutes to let everybody know about his books. Finally, it got released and where everybody can find it and tell us a little bit more about it. So I'm excited to hear from him as well. But RHETRI, what's up, buddy? What are we going to talk about first?
Well, we always like to ask everyone what they've been playing, and I know that's usually when we have Jesse on. I know that's a loaded question because it's what aren't you playing is usually the better question. But Jesse, I'll ask you I ask you any games you can talk about that you have been playing lately.
Things I can say I'm playing.
Yes.
So I'm doing a review for Little Kitty Big City, coming to Game Pass. I'm doing a review for Indica. If you look up the trailers for those games, boy, that is a whiplash emotionally. They are very different. Can't say anything about the actual games, though. If you played the demo for Little Kitty Big City, you know what it is. It's a fun little cat simulator, essentially. What everyone thought Stray was kind of going to be, but then wasn't because it's more game about robot genocide. But yeah, so working on those two. Played the Hades tech test for Hades 2. Real good.
Nice.
There was no NDA. They didn't say anything. They just kind of gave you access at random while that was up. Hopefully, the early access for that one won't be too far away. And
was that tech test on? Were you tech? Was it on PC or was this?
Yeah, just on Steam. No.
Okay.
So all pretty much their early access is going to, I think, focus on Steam and Epic Game Store again. Then I don't know if they'd ever use Xbox Game Preview. It would be really cool if they did. But I would imagine at 1.0, which I think they said is probably going to be early next year-ish targeting, would eventually be on everything like the first game was. So
right, good.
Those
good
and
to hear,
Fallout 4 have been the main things, and streaming some Fallout 4, playing on PC mainly because I like to mod it up when I can, all fancy like. But yeah, no, getting back into that one and enjoying the hell out of it. It's still a great game.
Oh, nice. Very good games right there. Pixel, what about you, brother? What have you been playing?
Nothing. I'm jealous of shit.
How you doing?
I played more. That was just what I talked about because I reviewed Topspin. I reviewed Tales of Kinzera. I reviewed No Rest for the Wicked this week. So there's all that.
I mean, I purchased a couple of those games. I didn't actually get a chance to play them.
I hope not Topspin. I did not.
No,
like
not
it.
Topspin. No,
Yeah,
no,
I
Topspin.
gave it a 5, and people are very mad at me, but I think it plays like shit.
Oh, wow.
Well, hey, it's your
But,
choice, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think I gotta like. I didn't even get a chance to boot Tales of Kinzera yet. I started No Rest for the Wicked.
Yeah.
Played like probably 2 hours of it and was like, this game is only okay, and kind of put it back down. So I think I did download the Fallout 4 update just because I wanted to see the super ultra wide support actually work on my damn screen for once. Yay. Yeah, you know, it's been quite a nightmare trying to boot Fallout on my newest PC. So like nothing works. Right? It doesn't pick up any of the drivers. It just was a mess. So now it actually works. So that was nice. But until my total game time this week could probably be less than 2 hours because I've been busy as shit.
Because you've been doing other stuff, touching grass, maybe.
Yeah, dealing with life, working, and more working. That's always fun. So, but yeah, here I am, and you know, just part of the other fun is just watching Twitter.
Yeah, it's like a sport, I guess. Yeah, sure.
It's like a blood sport out there. Yeah, it's nice.
It is like a blood sport, absolutely. Dave, what about you, man? What have you been playing?
I have been playing. Let's see.
It wasn't a trick question.
With himself.
Well, I got a lot of hands-on experience with that. Anyway. Sorry for joystick. But no. Seriously, Power World. Played a little Power World with my kids, and then Final Fantasy 14 because it's something that I can do with my kids. I'm excited kids, but let's see. My youngest is 24, and my oldest is 32. So yeah, so
they're still your kids.
Exactly.
The kids to you.
So yeah, that's and of course watched a couple more episodes of Fallout. God, so good. So good. Up this.
I worked very hard, and I was able to get screener copies on that one. I was very excited.
Ooh, awesome!
Nice.
Oh, nice.
And then they just started sending me screeners for all of their shows, which are mostly.
You're like, I don't want that.
Yeah, if you want to do The Boys, go right ahead. But everything else, I'm good.
Right? Yeah.
Ooh, The Boys. I love that show. One of my favorites.
Yep, me too.
So about you, RHETRI? What's you up to?
For me, it's been Tales of Kinzara. I really enjoy the game. I wanted to play No Rest for the Wicked, but part of me was just like,
they have patched the shit out of it. The longer you wait, the better it will be. I had a lot of serious issues at launch. You can tell it's European because they wanted European gamers, especially you see it in the simulator genre. They like making everything hard or everything take time, and that's not my favorite thing in an ARPG where you want to get back to town quick. You want to fix your shit up quick. You want to dump it off. You want to get back out and have fun. But when it's 20 minutes to go around the city to do everything every time you're full, and you can't just teleport there, you've got to run to a teleport.
Sounds like Dragon's Dogma 2 a little bit. Just a little bit there. Yeah.
Dragon's Dogma 2 is so much more focused on the combat than like anything else that I was fine with it. Like it is really built around that. Whereas this one wants to also have like some build up your house, and they're going for a lot of different things. And I think
systems.
Throughout the next year or so, they're in early access. They're going to start refining those down a lot so that you can skip things if you feel like it. But they're there if you want, which is, I think, the best way. Like, yeah, you can go build a bajillion settlements in Starfield or Fallout, but you don't have to. Like but in this one, you kind of feel like, oh, I've got to go do this stuff or else the game's never going to be super smooth. And there might be people who love that, and it should be there for them. It just shouldn't be the only way it works. Really.
Yeah, should be an option. I really wanted to get it. It's Moon Studios. I love Ori. But I was just like, I'm just going to wait. I'm hearing too many mixed things about it. And I'm a very first impressions type of guy where if the first impressions are shit off the bat, a la Fallout 76, I don't even touch it. It's a miracle I even downloaded Fallout 76, and that's thanks to the show. Because usually I won't go back. I won't give you a second chance. I know that's kind of like the thing that happens in video games now. They all come out like shit and they get patched later. But yeah, I mean, don't fuck them. Like, you know, it's my time. I don't give a shit. Like, I have a huge back catalog. I don't have to wait for you to get your shit together. I have plenty of other great games that are fine out the gate. You know what I'm saying? Tales of Kinzara being one of those. I think it's a great game. Out of curiosity, Jesse, if you can remember, do you remember what you scored Tales?
So I gave it an 8.5, heavily carried by its story. I think the gameplay is mostly good. The combat doesn't evolve enough, and it's not precise enough on the platforming to make the 2 escape sequences in it fun. That pulled it down. I was like at a 7, but then the story is so good. Like that voice acting and the writing and where the story goes, how it ends, so good, pulled me up. I ended up really loving it, even if I was not having a great time with the platforming sequence at the very end. Yeah, that was a rough one. But other than that, really enjoyed it. Didn't overstay its welcome.
It's getting, that's the thing. Like, as long as these games aren't too long, I think I'm glad Tales is not like a very long game, because I could see that. I was expecting, because when I played the beta, you basically get the 2 masks that you have the entire game. I expected there to be like 4 masks. I was like, oh, there's got to be more stuff beyond that. There's other powers and upgrades that go along with it, but I was expecting like, I don't know. Like,
the power ramp isn't you're super weak and you become strong and then you become super strong. It is you're strong and then you become a bit stronger. Yeah. Yeah. Like you're enhancing what you have in the tree. You're never gaining new things in the tree. You're just gaining new things in a very, it's formulaic.
Upgrading those things you already have.
You can go this way. If you go this way, you see it's a huge path, probably new ability and where the story goes. If you go that way, you can get like a charm, like basic stuff. It's nothing nothing major. But first game, focusing more on the story and the acting, I get it. Yeah. And then if you see if they can grow from that, because that was the Moon Studios thing with Ori, where Ori and the Blind Forest, good. Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition, really good. Yeah. And then Ori and the Will of the Wisps, masterful.
Like, on a whole nother level. Yeah, they took everything they learned from the previous games and and just perfected it. But I am curious, a little side note, since I got you here, Jesse, do you ever take the price into consideration or do you just look at a game review? It's good or it's not. I don't care if it's $18 or if it's $50 or if it's $70, or do you take that into consideration when you're reviewing something?
Yeah, always. It's both, because, reviews don't change over time. There's no money in going back and re-reviewing most of the time.
Yeah.
Like Xbox First Party, we can. Like John's about to do a new Sea of Thieves review. He did one 4 years ago. Going to do one now. But outside of that, I'm reviewing it for launch. And like people will come back up 2 months later and be like, oh, this isn't. He's like, yeah, it's been patched 3 times, dipshit. It's like, yes, it's a very different game. But at launch, this is what it is. This is what it costs. It's up to you if you think that's enough. Also with, the emphasis on Game Pass and stuff. And I do think a lot of other reviews I check out don't really take costs into it, because they've just been getting everything for free for so long.
It's outside of their purview now. That's a great point. Because I know I would. Like, I'm a very value-based customer, and if I'm doing reviews, I'm not forgetting that Tales cost $18, and if I'm pitting it against a game like Prince of Persia, I know that out the gate costs $50, and my mind can't get past that. Both great games, right? Like very, very good games.
You could potentially play Prince of Persia for 1 month for $18 if you sign up on Ubisoft Plus.
And that's exactly
that's how you're supposed to do it right there. That's the way you're supposed to do it.
That's exactly what we're gonna be doing. So yeah.
So
I was just curious.
So value conscious for you, that means cheap, right? Just checking. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
A lot of times it comes down to like, if
Exactly.
a game's $70 and you can beat it easily in 6-7 hours, then that just is going to matter to a lot of people, because unless it's unbelievably replayable,
does matter to me.
people have budgets on what they can afford. And it's not that being longer means it's worth more. It just means that, like with what they're doing, where a big production, Ninja Blade building their whole new studio, like it's been a long time. Hellblade's not cheap, but it's not super long. So $50 for 8 hours, you might look at that and be like, not enough. Also on Game Pass, but it's a AAA production that's shorter, so they went $20 cheaper, and it just makes sense.
Which is
I think that's the
exactly the
best way
right thing to do. That was so smart. I love that they did that. Yeah, I think that was really smart. Get more value, and because people were going to bitch about the time to beat it. And the thing is too, anytime I see, and I advertise this out for Game Pass stuff, anytime I see a time to beat, I never hit that time to beat. You might, Jesse, because you play a lot of games. Tales of Kanzara is supposed to be an 8-hour game. I'm on 13 hours, and I'm in Act 3.
I beat it in 6.
See, I don't how. Like, I mean, I don't know how people do that. I'm easily distracted.
Well,
maybe that's what
Nick,
it is,
who's in the chat, is the type that is always, I'm going to do everything in every area as I go. And I'm the type that I am going to
You're laser focused on that.
If I see a couple things on the side that are easy, I'll do them. Otherwise, I'll go back at the end, and then I'll clear it all out. Yeah.
Gotcha. Good.
All right. I'm gonna jump in real quick. There's so many things to cover real quick. We have a few. We have a super chat and a few other things to talk about real quick. I don't mean to derail the show, but we also want to welcome out the one and only Dirt Griggity. Welcome, Dirt. Appreciate you being here. And Dut. And of course, we have Wandering Dutch is in the chat, as well as Special Nick. Special Nick is here, and with Wandering Dutch, I'm gonna drop this in the chat, and we need to have Dutch on very soon. The link is down there if anybody wants to click on that and watch that
later. 2 hours from now, click on that shit.
Well, yeah, but still, and we'll put it in the description as well on this show. The Community Indie Showcase 2024, I guess part 2, is available now, and it's pretty awesome. I have to say, I got to watch part of it already, and I'm gonna finish it up soon. So it's definitely worth watching. So everybody needs to jump on that and watch it. Support the community, and Dutch does such an amazing job. Puts a lot of work into that, and with that, we do greatly appreciate that. And like I said, we have so many, and Dutch, you can definitely drop as many links as you want to in there on that. So you have the power, sir, to put that in there as well. So don't hesitate. That we are more than welcome to do that.
Yep.
So let's get some of these quick things out of the way here. We got
Ditas 20 just read up for 7 months. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that, man.
We do.
Good times. And he sends a $10 super chat. Says, "What's up, everyone?" That's it. It's up to you, buddy.
It's awesome.
Sith Lord just became a member for 4 months. Appreciate you, Sith. Thank you. And thank you for always sharing out the show too, brother. That helps. Every little bit helps.
It really does.
Yep.
It really does. Yeah. No. Oh yeah. You get let's see. I was gonna say Nick. I think he's working right now, and of course, welcome, Zena. I see there's a whole bunch of great people here, and of course, Fark you. Just kidding, but I have to do that every time. Oh my gosh, we got there's so many great members of the community, and we appreciate you guys being here. There's over 130 people watching, whether it's on X or on YouTube, and we greatly appreciate your time and doing that. And of course, not everybody gets their own soundbite, but some do.
Why so serious?
And glad you're here too, as well, buddy. Thank you. Oh goodness. So yeah, if you got questions in the chat, please don't hesitate to drop them in. We got a crazy show and comments and stuff like that. We'll try and bring them up on the screen as fast as we can. And again, like I said, I derailed the show again. RHETRI, where are we going? What's our first topic of tonight?
With this, we talked about like Star Wars Outlaws not too long ago, and the whole like the Jabba the Hutt controversy. And then, then I came across one that seemed a lot more egregious than the Jabba the Hutt thing, and made everything else seem so much better. And that was Escape from Tarkov. Players are raging as developer locks. This is crazy to me. The world we live in. The developer locks co-op PvE behind a new $250 edition, then say they'll offer previous buyers access for just 6 months. Now I'm not.
Those are people who bought the tier.
Player.
The people who had bought you will get all DLC forever. A very expensive package. Weren't offered anything, and then they came in and said, we'll give you 6 months. And people are just like, it's pay to win, because Tarkov is entirely, been PvP VE. And having a PvE mode infinitely easier. You don't have to worry about other players who are the main ones that kill you if you know what you're doing. So now you can just hop in, you spend a bunch of money, you gear up like a maniac, and then you go into PvP and just dominate on like every wipe. And you don't get wiped of that gear, I think was another thing, because they run wipes where they'll just take all your gear out and then everyone starts from scratch again. But in this mode, I think you can avoid being wiped. It is a huge.
Feels like a little bit of bait and switch going on here, though, too, right, Jesse? Because from what I'm reading, the $150 version was supposed to give you all these DLCs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're supposed to get everything forever, and you're not getting this one. And now you're only getting it for 6 months in a capitulation that still wasn't good enough.
Damn. Dude, that is some next level robbery right here.
It's pretty much just going to flat out kill the game.
I mean, I'm just confused by why you would do something to this egregious level unless you're self-sabotaging. I don't know. Pixel, what do you think about this $250 edition, which was $150 at one point, giving you all the free DLCs, and now you have to, that's $250. Like, what do you think about this, man?
That sounds like a good luck with that.
Yeah. Sorry, Tarkov players.
You are literally. I mean, look, are they based in the U.S.? Because I smell a lawsuit coming on.
Are they? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they're
out of
Eastern European, Russian. I forget.
Yeah.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be me. There's no way I'm giving you that. Like the only game that ever.
I mean, you don't even get a damn statue. Where's my statue?
Make a game is Star Citizen make a game. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like there's no way you're changing the game in the middle and be like, oh yeah, let me just add this feature for and then block you from using it. Nah, son.
Okay, Zena's saying Tarkov is Russian. Okay, I didn't know that.
So the team that makes it, they're headquartered in London, but like a lot of times people, especially will headquarter outside of the country they're mainly in for tax purposes or because there's sanctions against the country and stuff like that. So, but yeah, they are located in the UK, and the game's set in a fictional Russia.
Okay, I guess that fits.
I'm hoping that the players decide to speak with their wallets, man. Stop playing that shit. Like,
I think they will.
We always say that, and then people like Nick just buy the dumbest goddamn microtransactions nonstop.
Throw Nick right on the bus. Yeah,
he talks. What does he play? He plays Rocket League and Fortnite, and he just spends way too much money in him. He has every amiibo, like every dumb, wasteful thing you can get. He's on top of it.
It's not wasteful to Nick, though, if he loves it. I don't know.
He's a whale.
He's a whale. He's the one. He's the
chicken leg whale.
I know other people who spend a ton. I'm not going to name them, but I know some people who spend all the monies in Fortnite. They'll every single thing, and I can't do that. Yeah. Your credit card, your kids, but yeah. Dave, what do you think about this $250 edition of Tarkov? Do you think this is going to bury this game, or do you think there's a chance that Wales will carry this one through?
we'll see. We'll see. Nick says whatever, and he also says he has around 120 skins on that.
Was
game.
that all?
Wow!
Holy shit.
Wow!
That's an interesting
math.
whatever.
Do some basic math on that. That's at least $10 a minimum, probably per skin there.
Yeah, yeah. If the game is what you want, then get it for sure. As is basically what I'd say. If there'll be people out there that'll be it's been worth it for them. For me personally, no. But there definitely there's people out there that want to pay that kind of money, or they wouldn't get away with doing it. But who knows? Actually, if you don't mind, Retri, read that the comment from Adele, because it's for Jesse, which is pretty good.
Sure. Abdel is a question for Jesse. Do you always roll credits for a review? And how about a game you really not like but can see its great production quality?
Yeah, depending on how long you have. I saw credits in Elden Ring, but I had 6 days for a game that I then spent like 90 hours in. So you try to, and I did that in the time. I had Gotham Knights for 3 days before launch, so that was 40 hours in 3 days. So if I can, I always do. It really does come down to how long is the game? Is there like credits to roll? Because there are just certain things that don't really have that. Like if you're doing a sports game, they're yearly. Yeah. You normally just know. You can do a sports review in like 4 hours because you just know what has changed is all you need to find out. So yeah, the focus for us always is to roll credits if we are actually given a healthy amount of time for it. If I've got if I've got 1 or 2 days, and that's happened before, and the game's like 50 hours, like I didn't do it with Persona 5 Royal, I just looked up the ending on that one, and I was able to do it. Otherwise, it would very much be a thing where I say, I didn't have enough time in the body of the review, but this is what I think of what I played. And if you don't, I think that has been one of the harder things. I know John's talked about it. It is harder to objectively look at something when you just simply don't like the genre. And I do think I've done like 200, I've done 264 video game reviews now, and it's like 300 or something total between like hardware and everything. Being able to pull myself out, like I couldn't give 2 shits about Crusader Kings. Like I don't care about marrying my 5-year-old niece to her 40-year-old cousin in ancient Europe, but like seeing what that game is, how it works, how intricate it is, the clockwork mechanisms of it all was incredible. It didn't interest me. I didn't enjoy it, but I played like 30 hours of it in a week just to make sure I could see everything, and then I ended up giving like a 9. But for me, it's not something I would ever have played. So I try. Reviews are always subjective. Yeah. That's why you need to find people you trust. Right. Yeah. And you look at it as and what it is. It's an opinion. Like it's one person's opinion. The most reviewed games I've seen have 200 people's opinions, and that's it. And the scores don't mean shit. It's just to try and give you an idea of what they felt like. So never look at it too hard. Just look at it as a guide if you trust someone on what you might think if you do decide to play it.
Did you, quick question on that, on the score front, did you guys ever discuss possibly not doing scores, or did you really just want to get into Metacritic? And
no, we don't want to.
So I thought you guys were...
Yeah, we don't want to do scores, but there's no point in doing a review if you don't. Unless you are enormously huge, or you're like, if you're like a skill up or an ACG and you can do the, I recommend this, I don't recommend this, and you're relying more on Patreon and stuff like that. Cool. But when you want people to actually click in, like Polygon went back to scores because people don't click in without them because they're so used to overvaluing them. So we're just kind of stuck with it. Like the aggregate sites are, the aggregate sites are essentially useless. Like we're on Metacritic, we're on OpenCritic. We don't matter on OpenCritic because you only matter on OpenCritic if you're a top critic. How do you become one? Nobody knows. On Metacritic, they do hidden weighting. So like three of us had given.
I was going to ask you if you knew your weighting. So it's hidden. You have no clue where your weight is in the pecking order.
Is I had given a game an 8. I gave a game an 8. Another small site gave it an 8.5, and another small site gave it an 8. And then IGN came in and gave it a 6, and it was a 61. So it's like we don't matter. People look at that and
see, that's why I hate Metacritic, because the weight that IGN has over everybody else. I don't.
And they get
like
to be
that.
on multiple platforms, and we don't get to. Like I played 40 hours on console and like 60 hours on PC for Starfield, but I only got to be on one of them. And IGN got to influence both scores, and I don't know why, because he only played like half of that. But I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for sharing that, man. Like, it's good so people can realize like what is really going on behind the scenes and kind of the inside baseball stuff. Because a lot of people didn't even know that Metacritic was weighted, and that IGN technically counts more than everybody else, which annoys the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, I mean, the people that do know it though, that's why they go at IGN neck when they come up with bullshit scores, right? Because they
absolutely.
know that they're.
I mean, all podcasters know it, but
overweighing that score, and it's like, this game is better than what they said, but it's like, wow.
No, it's also saying a 7 is good. It's like, yeah, that's what your thing says, but then when you spend the next 3 to 6 months shitting on it and saying, see, it actually wasn't that good, it's like, well, yes, we knew you don't give big games a 7 unless you don't like them, but don't want to give them a bad score. Because there are also the outrage merchants who rage bait and they give it a 4 or a 3, because the game was an 87 until all the late reviews came in and dragged it down, and then that just becomes a narrative that it was a huge failure and all the critics hated it. It was divisive. It's like, no, the heavily weighted critics dragged it down hard.
Dragged it down. And it's Service saying, I didn't even know that. That's so crazy. That's why I like to talk about little things like that and mention them, because a lot of people just don't know. Like, your average gamer will have no clue that's why their score is where their score is. But now you know, and now you know why I hate IGN. But that's a me problem. I mean,
the people I know that work at IGN are very nice, but corporations are made up of many people. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's plenty of good. I'm not saying everyone that works at IGN sucks.
Yeah,
just some of them.
It's like looking at
the group, right? So
Microsoft sucks. But there's a lot of great people that work there that I really like. Like, we've had Jason Ronald, we've talked to Phil. They were incredibly nice. But you don't get to be nice and be a big corporation. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Lord Roughness. Sorry you have to see this face in 55 inches of whatever you're looking at in your London hotel room, but I appreciate you, man. And thank you for sharing our shows out and stuff, too. I've been seeing you do that lately, so I definitely appreciate it. That great inside information there, Jesse. That was very helpful, man. I always like to look at that sort of stuff. I think it's interesting. But let's get into at least some good news here. Yes, Abdel, TTS. Fallout 76 has attracted over 1 million players in a single day, Bethesda says. I always love when Bethesda said it, so I guess we're just going to have to believe them, I guess, right? Amazon's Fallout TV show has helped drive a massive increase in sales for the series. They say in a tweet, thank you to over the 1 million of you who adventured with us in Fallout 76 in a single day, the publisher said on Tuesday, and almost 5 million across all Fallout games in a single day, and added in a follow-up tweet. They say it's amazing to see the large influx of new Appalachian adventurers and how our awesome community has welcomed them, wrote Jonathan Rush, creative director for Bethesda Game Studios on Fallout 76. A very exciting moment with many, many more to come. So, guys, it sounds. I mean, Jesse, you went back to Fallout, but you went back to 4, correct?
No, I did both.
I think is what you were saying.
Yeah, I played some 76 as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you play 76 out the gate, or were you?
I did not. I played it after Wastelanders came out, when it finally got good. Because I do know, like, there was a very funny Insider Gaming article that was like, Fallout 76 was always good, and it's like, no, it was very bad at launch. It had an okay base with nothing to do. So, but when the Wastelanders expansion hit, it's just been a nice steady climb of okay, good, really good. It's kind of great now. So yeah, Fallout 76 is a ton of fun.
The game didn't have NPCs at the beginning, correct?
No, it was robots and enemies. I think that was like about it.
Wow, that kind of blows my mind. Like, I never, like, when people told me that, I was like, that can't be true. And then I looked up, holy shit, I guess that was true. Damn. What about you, Pixel? congratulations, these guys are hitting 1 million. But has the show? I guess obviously the show is what was a catalyst for
the driver. Yes,
is the driver here, right? Marketing works. Who knew?
Not Microsoft.
Well, they know now.
They know now.
Yeah,
but no, it didn't make me. It didn't make me boot up Fallout 76. Like it's that game requires dedication and time, right? And I got neither. So
it's not that bad anymore. With the introduction of it can be a fun solo game. I think that's its greatest strength. Pretty fun in a group.
See that?
I'm glad
you said that, Jesse, because I was going to solo it, and I was like, I was feeling a certain way. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to like this open world MMO-ness, I guess, in this sort of game.
It's just a big old Fallout game now. Yeah, and once you get to level 5, you can turn on passive mode. You don't going to worry about PvP anymore. So, and people are very nice. They'll probably drop you a shit ton of stuff right as you walk out the vault.
Oh, okay.
I was so confused when I went out the vault. I'm like, yo, I just found like gold and all this armor and shit everywhere. And then I found out it's because other people dropped it in there, and I didn't know that. And I was like, holy crap! I hit the mother load right off the bat. Yeah. So I thought it was special. I wasn't.
Yeah, I played it like
people being awesome.
A bunch of years ago when it first came out, and I mean, it was cool, you know what I'm saying, but just didn't do it for me at the time.
There wasn't much to do.
Yeah,
like,
so
this is okay, but
sounds familiar.
Yeah, I mean, but look, we've had our shared games like this. I can only kind of latch onto one big game a year or so. So I'm just leery of taking on the exercise of a large game. So. But look, if it's hot like that now, then hey, maybe not. Maybe why not? Because the show is amazing. Like you after seeing that show, you kind of want to go back and be like, damn, I missed my power armor, right? Like so. But yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, they said 5 million people played a Fallout game in a single day. That's freaking bananas. You know what I'm saying? So. They're doing big things, and it's good. It's well deserved, right? If you put that much time and energy and dedication into, presenting a game in movie or TV format so nicely, it's like you should be rewarded. So hopefully this is a lesson to other developers. If you're gonna put a game out, make it a fucking game. Don't be scared to actually present your game world as a game, because Fallout definitely that show plays like a game.
Yeah,
it literally has all the side quests going on. It's you got
true.
People getting silly upgrades. Like it's just awesome.
So like one thing we talked about last night, someone brought this up, and I was like, "Damn you for bringing this up," but it's a good point. Is they were like, "Well, why wasn't there an uptick in people playing Halo?" And I said, "You goddamn know why." You know why? Because season 1 wasn't that great. There
was an uptick around season 1. It's just not many things have hit a zeitgeist like this. This is one of the 3 top shows in Amazon's history for their own stuff. Right. Lightning in a bottle is very hard to catch.
Exactly.
So you always aim for it, but you rarely get it. Like The Last of Us helped, but not to this level.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't make millions of people play The Last of Us. It was a good show, right? The Twisted Metal, good show. Cyberpunk,
you can't go back to that one very easily. Cyberpunk was helped a lot.
Twisted Metal has a different problem. Yeah.
No. But I like Twisted Metal because
I did too.
If you remember the games, especially Sweet Tooth,
yes,
you put that kind of Sweet Tooth in the game in the show. It's like, okay, they get it. They read the material.
I agree.
It was funny.
They didn't have. You don't have a Twisted Metal you can easily go back to.
You don't have a game to go back to.
Problem.
The best series, the best game in the series is stuck on the PS3 with no back and pat, right? So, but other shows have come out and they've been very good. But this is this was just next level, right? And it's unexpected. Even though, to be fair, after watching the previews, like their little teaser trailers, you knew this shit was gonna be fire. Like you kind of could see it, like they get it.
Oh, you knew it, dude.
You knew it, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, to experience it, it's like wow.
The I'm trying to get my wife behind it
to finish up
Nolan and Lisa Joy. You could not have cherry picked a better 2 people to do this particular show. the guys who worked on Westworld. It's like, it's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah, as well as the casting. You got like Walton Goggins. Like you knew. I didn't know he was going to be in like a bunch of episodes. I actually thought he was going to be in like 2 episodes and we never see him again. I didn't realize he was going to be like a main character focus. Very smart in my opinion. Having like 3, main storylines going on at the same time. I just loved it through and through. And that finale, whew.
There were 2 people.
Get to the finale, man.
So Joy and Nolan were executive producers, but the actual showrunners who did like the day-to-day everything were Geneva. I had to look up the name. Geneva Robertson Dworet, who wrote The Marvels, and Graham Wagner, who's worked on a bunch of stuff, but they were both enormous Fallout fans. And that, along with Jonathan Nolan being an enormous Fallout fan, like they were all in. And I think Fallout works better than a Halo, than a Last of Us for being a direct translation because it is an open-ended RPG without a set protagonist that you are generally going to get yelled at if you don't follow. Because if it wasn't about Master Chief, people be mad. If it wasn't about Joel and Ellie, people be mad. So you're already kind of confined in. And with Fallout, they're able to just jump a little ahead of or a little further in the future than where Fallout 4 was. Also show more in the past, and they weren't confined by anything outside of working with Todd Howard and Bethesda to the lore is going to go a certain way. You're going to go that certain way. You can make your show in that way. You don't have these characters you just have to have in this specific way that people are going to get very mad at if you don't do it.
Absolutely. And what's funny, a lot of people like bitch about Halo not kind of following the lore and stuff, and Fallout was able to make its own confined story, but no one bitched about it because the tone was so spot on that it was just oozing with Fallout like everywhere, from the props to like you saw the money and the production that they put into it. I mean, this is what happens, I think, when you get the right people working on a show. And this is why I said I made a video 1.5 years ago saying that the Fallout show I thought was going to be a hit because of who was behind it. Because it matters. It does definitely matters. And it matters how much money you got behind you too, which is good because now they have season 2. We'd be shooting in California. You get $25 million tax credit right off the bat in California. So we know the budget's going to be healthy.
They said the budget's $152 million.
Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. 152 million minus 25 million. Thanks, California. So they definitely needed that 25 million. But it's great, man. It's a hit. So I'm so happy for Fallout fans. I see everyone enjoying it. So all good news all around, man. Just great to hear. So I'm super excited about that stuff. But let's get into another subject here. This was interesting to me. We saw this on Twitter, and that was Spawn Wave putting out a poll, I should say, out there asking people. Well, he says, I've been talking to some people, and I wanted to see what Twitter thinks. Does it feel like gaming is in a bit of a rut at this moment? And I'll tell you the results of this poll. It was 61.8% said yes. 38.2% said no. Now, this is extremely vague. This could, you could take this in several different directions on what gaming being in a rut could even possibly mean. But I think it's curious. I just wanted to get you guys' opinion and just how do you feel the state of gaming is in 2024? Do you think it's in a good place? Do you think it's bad? I know we've had a lot of layoffs, but I think of it, at least personally, as a customer first, and I think it's been damn good. I don't have enough time to play all these games personally, but I'll start with you, Jesse. Like, how do you take this? Is gaming in a rut for you?
No.
It's 2024 poopy.
Gaming is in a rut if you're focused generally on PlayStation first party or Nintendo first party, which a lot of people who cover video games are. If you're multi-platform like everyone pretends to be, if you're more PC focused, like there's too much. There's too much to play. And there has been for years. There's way too many games, but when I'm in a rut because I can't list war effectively, is the mentality. Is like, yeah, of course you're feeling in a rut because your entire video game life isn't about playing games or talking about games. It's about talking about the business of games in an A versus B comparison all the time, which is just pointless.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point on the PlayStation side, but even them, I'm just like, but you got a bunch of games that were money hatted, like, so you still have.
It's because people care about who publishes things, so it's like publisher A versus publisher B is like, oh, Xbox fans haven't had anything to play for a decade. I've heard people in the media say, like Patrick Klepek said, they haven't had a good game in 13 years, and he truly believes it. And I'm like,
Jesus.
I don't. I think they've had a lot of good games for a while, and I think the platform just has way too much shit. And the people who don't get their games for free, like Game Pass, because it has so much friggin' stuff on it. Like now you get to play Jedi Survivor on it without paying extra. It's just there if you're on Game Pass Ultimate, or if you've got PC Game Pass, it's just there. Like that really matters for most people who aren't FOMO and desperate to play things immediately. There's way too much shit, which is why the gaming industry is in a rut, because there is too much, and so growth has kind of done this. Yeah, like, but also is that's not really a problem for Xbox's side of things, because they want to entice as many people as they can to get into their subscription service. So like Phil on our show said, never too many games for them.
Yeah.
But I think there can be for others.
For the subscription service, it's a monster you have to consistently feed. So you're absolutely right. It's almost like a very like opposite problem, like PlayStation versus Xbox. Xbox has to feed the monster constantly. It's just like Netflix in that regard. I know Sappho said something earlier in the chat that I thought was, I kind of agree with it. She said, and those low 6s and 5s scored games would actually be 7s and 8s last gen. I kind of agree with what she's saying. I think a lot of scores are very fucking harsh these days, where I'm going, this game is great. It was marked a 6 by whoever, and I completely agree with that.
We actually ended up talking about this last night with Rand a lot, and it's like, yeah, there used to be far fewer reviews. And those who were in it weren't as jaded now, because a lot of the people you have been in it for too long. They don't actually like playing those things. They don't like interacting with people who play games. Social media hasn't helped, but like you look at old reviews and there's like 20 to 30 of them, and the game's got a 99. And that doesn't happen anymore because Elden Ring or God of War Ragnarok have like 215 that get counted in these lists. So it is just it feels like people are harsher and angrier. It's just there's way more opinions out there.
Just an oversaturation of too many
opinions. A lot more
opinions.
fraudery too, but yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Pixel,
what do you think on this?
He nails it quite nicely. I mean, it is kind of people exposing themselves about what kind of games they actually are, right? So like, I'm an old school gamer, so there are literally too many games out right now across so many genres, across all the platforms, from AAA to AA to, the indie game scene. Like, there's just too many good games out right now for you to claim that there's a rut, as far as I'm concerned. I'm playing too many games right now. I can't keep up, right? Years ago, you used to be able to pretty much get your hands on most of the big games and play them all. Right now, there's no way in hell, except if you're Jesse, that you can manage to pull all those games up and say, yeah, I played them all. There's just no way, right?
There's no way.
I think it's a rut for people who only play certain types of games, right? And for everybody else, it's like, there's literally too many games. So I think there's a difference between what's happening in the industry in terms of layoffs and stuff like that, and then what's happening in the gaming space, right? I think gaming
that chat up.
Gaming content in general is very healthy, right? We're getting a boatload of shit. What's happening in the industry, in the business side of the industry, we keep saying that it's the gaming industry, but it's not the gaming industry. It is the tech industry. As somebody who's been in tech for over 20 years, I've been seeing crazy layoffs, and anybody in tech knows that, right?
100%.
It's a mess. It's not just gaming. So people are like, oh, gaming is going to be in trouble. Bro, fucking tech is in trouble, if that's the case. But tech isn't in trouble. It's a matter of COVID happened. COVID happened.
Yeah,
COVID happened at the same time that money was cheap.
Yes,
you put those two things
It was a
together,
perfect storm, bro.
Perfect storm. People over played their hands, hired 1 million developers, blah blah blah. And then now money's not cheap, and everything costs more, and having every developer there costs more, and that's why people are getting fired. It's terrible and it's trash, but that's what it is.
That's
it's
reality,
not
though.
Just the gaming space. So,
Activision alone in 3 years, 8,000 new employees. Just saying. So
and they had
Pixel's
and now they're
right.
jettisoning people, right? But I'm working at companies that are, they got rid of their entire IT staff, basically, right? And it's like, oh, we're gonna outsource everybody because it's just cheaper to do it, right? And they don't give a crap, right? And these companies aren't going anywhere. they're not gonna fold, right?
No.
Because they got the developer. Because now you have this huge glut of seasoned developers that are sitting in the market. And what does that do? It drives the cost of development down, because now people are fighting for jobs, which they weren't doing before. So, it's all a game being played, across tech, but it's all of tech. It's not just gaming. So, as far as I'm concerned, game right now there is no rub. We really literally just have too many games, and I am constantly clicking on Steam like, I'm not gonna buy that, and then buy that. Right, so
and then never play it, and then maybe play it a couple years from now.
I'm gonna hit that 2 weeks from now, but because I'm an idiot, let me get this right now. I'm never gonna play it right now, but let me support the devs and break my pocket first.
There you go.
Because we're stupid like that. But
I love what Paris says here, and I completely agree. He's backing up Sappho's point as well, saying Zal getting a 7 out of 10. And I tell you, that score is bugging the hell out of me. I know it's not even a bad score. It's like it's 77 right now, but I'm like, it should be higher. He says 7 out of 10 is a prime example
for a while, and then it
was it that low?
Yeah, it was down at 70.
God, you gotta be kidding me. It says if it was 10 years ago, that game is a 9 out of 10. I 100% agree with what Paris is saying here. 100% think that game would have been fire back in the day, and no one wouldn't even question a 9 out of 10, in my opinion. But welcome, Hargeet. What's going on, brother?
Hey, just finished up with Fonz and Game Talk Live. Here I am.
Let's go.
He
can't get enough. I tell you, this guy, he loves it. He loves it. Welcome to the show, brother. We were just discussing. I mean, we discussed this last night with you too on our show. And is gaming in a rut? From Spawn Waves, tweet out there. If you want to give your 2 cents on that for anyone who didn't see the show last night.
Yeah, so I guess first thing, get my book. Here's the URL. And then second,
I ordered it last night, by the way.
Yep. Spawnwave. I don't know if he specifically thinks the gaming is in a rut. I think he got that from others, and he's like, just put a poll out there, but maybe he does.
Yeah.
My thought is that depending on what you like, you may find it, that hey, there's nothing for me to play. You may be in that category, right? If you just are open to playing games, there's so much out there. Yeah. Especially if you're open to indie games, there's a lot of games out there. To me, it's very hard to keep up. There's so many games, and if you're subscribed to something like Game Pass, or even you go over to PS Plus Extra, there's a lot of games that drop into those services, and just like go play them. There's no reason not to try them out if you subscribe to the service, right? Equivalently, I subscribe to Ubisoft Plus, right? And so you get all these games on there too. You're welcome to try those up. By the way, they also have curated third-party stuff in there, not for, I think they might have a few on the Xbox side, but mostly on the PC side. So Ubisoft Plus is also like a mix of first-party and third-party stuff. So you get all these games, and you're like, okay, how do you keep up with this? I don't know how you could think gaming is in a rut. And again, it just comes down to what your outlook is. If you're looking for a big action adventure, large open world type game, maybe you're not being served as much, right? But if you're looking for just gaming, there's Dragon's Dogma 2 just came out. You just got Zao. There's so many different games that right. You got Rise of the Golden just came out. Yeah, Balatro. Yeah, that's true, right? A lot of people seem to like that. But again, there's just so many different things, different genres. There's all sorts of things out there. If you're interested in just opening up to other genres out there and playing, I think Game Pass, if people give it a chance, allows you to sort of open up to other genres and see if it's for you, right? And the cost of entry, yes, there's a cost, but you're getting a whole bunch of AAA games too. And then after that, it's really just download it and try it. Heck, most of the times you can play them in the cloud if you don't even want to try to download it before trying it. Just try it and see if it's something you like, and if it's, hopefully that takes away the idea that gaming is in a rut. I can't see how today, like we grew up with gaming, right? We used to get games very rarely in comparison to what we get now. This like games every day. There's like 3 or 4 things coming out, right?
Dude,
we played, I don't know. Games used to literally be seasonal. They used to be seasonal.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
right.
I played like 4 you get a bunch of games, a little bit in the summertime.
I played 4 games a year. Like,
and they would cost you $100.
And it's like, come on. I don't, you know what it is? I don't know. Maybe I'm just old. Like, I started gaming when it was literally a pixel. So like, I think maybe I'm easily impressed. Maybe these kids aren't impressed anymore as much as I am, but everything just looks beautiful to me now. Like, I'm just like, oh, it's what a world we live in. I can get all these games for $18 a month. Like how, like F you kids for complaining about anything. Like, are you kidding me? Get off my lawn. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I've been around too long where, I'd
rather
think it's
be in the situation where I still can appreciate gaming just in kind of purest form than to be stuck on, pretty picture, no good, pretty picture. I don't, like it doesn't have to be the most beautiful thing in the world for me to enjoy a game. Like, gameplay is king. So, I know that's a new concept for some of y'all folks, but it's gameplay first,
is
right?
always king, brother.
So hold on. Every now and again there'll be like some Twitter poll, and they'll be like, "Oh, what's more important, story or gameplay or graphics?" Yeah. And every time I don't see gameplay on top, I die a little inside.
I agree.
I die a little inside because I'm like, yelling. It's called gaming.
Not if you're on PlayStation, really though, right? Movies. You have auto mode. You don't have to play the game.
Don't even get me started. You know what I'm saying?
But like, that,
but I vary on the genre too.
The gameplay part, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, if you're into a narrative game or something, like it's fine if the gameplay's okay, but then the narrative's incredible. Like,
right, yeah. If one can lift the other one up, if the story's incredible, then I will give gameplay a little bit of lax. But gameplay will always be my number one. This is why you got games like Vampire Survivors.
It's king.
Yeah, for most of it. But I agree with you, Pixel.
So that's the thing on the rut thing. It really just depends, and I agree with you. Like the idea of like graphics heavy thing. Actually, I think like the coming generations don't care as much about graphics because they already see games that look good, and they're like, I just want to have fun. I don't care if it looks good. I just want to play the game, and I want to enjoy it with my friends. And so they'll play Roblox. They're happy with that.
So that's the thing, right?
They're happy with that.
Get it. Kids still get it, right? My smaller kids, they don't give a crap. Like, you give them Spider-Man, they're like, oh, they play it, it's fun. Oh, too many buttons. Back to Roblox.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I want to play Minecraft.
Right? On their iPad.
Because that's their socialization, which is cool, right? Like, why not?
Yeah, they're just looking for fun.
But yeah, so like I think that's a better way to look at it. I always like to have gameplay because if the gameplay loop isn't fun, it just gets annoying, right? So then I'm like, I'm torturing myself to just finish
to get through the story. Oh my god, can it end already? Can it end? Oh my god.
I hate doing that, and I've done that. Yeah,
it's like, come on.
Those kind of games take me like a year. One game took me 7 years to beat. I'm not gonna name the game, but it took me 7 years to pick this
How
game
long
back
has Valhalla
up
been out? Has it been out 7 years?
Nah, Valhalla, I beat that. But like,
all right, good for you. You're the one. You're the one. You and Jesse.
I didn't beat Valhalla.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I was 60 hours in. I was like,
that game was
got
too
too
long.
busy.
Yeah, that game was definitely too long. Yeah.
I think the more interesting thing was that poll that he put out there. A majority of players did think the gaming was in a rut, right? I think
that's Twitter, though. Twitter's so miserable.
It is. So, he took it to YouTube too, and it was kind of similar there. It wasn't as bad. Twitter is a fucking miserable place, dude. I swear. It's so toxic. But yeah, but YouTube kind of said the same thing, and I'm just like, is this Spawn's audience?
It's telling us we're old.
What people got used to.
Correction, I don't think I built the Valhalla. I beat the one before because Valhalla was too damn long.
Yeah, Origins and Odyssey were good lengths, and then Valhalla was like 90 hours.
Odyssey is kind of where the gap was like, okay, like 50, 60 hours, I'm done. But yeah, I think it's part of it is probably his audience, and part of it is Like there's like a certain
Sure.
age group now that's playing games and that's vocal that don't really play games. They're not gamers. So we're hoping the next generation is more back into more of the regular gaming, and they probably will be because they play nonsense. They play legit nonsense that is just fun and just for fun. So, hopefully we'll get less of the type of gamer that right now would think something's a rut because it's just too much.
When their
It's really too
audiences
much right now
that are aimed at console, or they're aimed at platforms that aren't putting out a bunch right now, then they're going to feel like they're in a rut because their audience is aimed at a couple of platforms that just are in between putting a lot of stuff out. So if you're not aimed at the PC audience, if you're not aimed at the general audience, or if you're not aimed at even the Xbox One with Game Pass, it doesn't feel like PlayStation first-party bangers haven't hit in a while, and Nintendo is just doing remakes a lot and smaller stuff. Yeah, those are the two big ones that people always look at as the games, and
that's a good point, Jesse.
Like Rebirth is a great game, but it didn't hit. Like it didn't sell great because it's the second game in a remake trilogy. Where a lot of people I think a lot of casual people will be like, I'll wait till they're all out. I'm not gonna. They don't FOMO.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that sentiment a lot. A lot of people. We talked about Final Fantasy, and a lot of people were like, "I'm just gonna wait. Like I'm just gonna wait for the bundle and get it for whatever $30 whenever it comes out." But Paris brings up a good point too.
Yeah,
2023, one of the best gaming years of all time. 5 months, into 2024, we can't be in a rut. Like, but,
how quick we forget, right?
Gamers' memories are short.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. It's just. I don't know, Dave. What's your piece about gaming being a rut? How do you feel about this topic?
I personally don't think there's a rut at all. It's just a matter of a lot. There's a lot of FOMO that it's like everybody wants the next big thing, next new thing, next. Like we know there's a lot of great games coming this year. Indiana Jones. We talked about it in the green room earlier. A lot of people are like, oh, so fired up for that game for it to come out. But it's not here yet. So it's like it feels like it's forever, even though it's supposed to be coming this year.
It's not.
It feels like it's forever away, and it's like when that comes out, when that comes out, we'll play it, we'll beat it, and then it's like, who's next? It's like the ABK deal when when everybody was like, buy them. Oh, we got them all. Great. Oh, it's fantastic. We finally bought them. Now who's next? It's like, okay, let's get it. We haven't even got all these amazing games in Game Pass. The catalog and stuff that are coming, and from ABK, including there's from what we understand, there's going to be some really good, upgrades and perks to, or should I say, more games coming in the PC Game Pass with Blizzard. With their back catalog of things that are coming to that it's going to really, be great. But we haven't got that yet because and hopefully we're going to get that some this year. We should be some announcements, maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, at the June showcase as to what so what's in the future. But it's just if it's we talked about it. I think we've all talked about it already. That there's so many great games out. Even Jesse with reviewing games, it's like he didn't have time to just sit necessarily and really get into a game. I mean, obviously, if it's something he really likes, he's gonna make time for it. Right. But I mean, you have to go and review the next one and the next one, and there's so much. I mean, it's a catch-22. It's it's great that you have them and all those games coming out because you want great content. Exactly, a good problem to have. But a rut. I don't. A rut would be not having
2022 for Xbox
or first, this year for exactly, or PlayStation Now, where there's no first party games coming out until 2025. But but that doesn't seem to matter to them, But it's all doom and gloom for Xbox, right? Anyway, so yeah, that's my take. What about you, Retri? What do you think?
I mean, I don't think it's in a rut. Like, everyone knows my back catalog is ridiculous. I mean, I just started playing Midnight Suns, for God's sakes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm so far behind. Still got to play like Dying Light 2. Like, it's just, It's fine, man. Like between, we talked about this last night. I wonder, like, I think a lot of us are Game Pass subscribers, and I think that's why this is just so unbelievably crazy to us, because we can get fed 20 games in a month, which isn't necessarily abnormal for Xbox to do something like that. So we're always behind the 8 ball in getting games finished. So for me, we're certainly not in a rut. If it was 2022 and we're talking about Xbox, then first party, not even Game Pass, then I'd say yes. But even then, we were getting a ton of games in Game Pass. So. Yeah, I don't understand the doom and gloom, but I think to Jesse's point, I think he brought up, I think it's looking through the glass of PlayStation. I think that's really where this might have spawned out of.
And not even the PlayStation platform, just their first party.
And Nintendo.
Yeah, which people just focus on people focus on the publisher a lot when we're talking about gaming. When actual customers don't give a shit.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They do not care.
Is there a game for me to play? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
It ends.
Yep. Yeah. All us podcasters, all us guys arguing on Twitter, we are 5%, maybe not even. We're nothing. We're spec on the whole spectrum of the entirety of gaming itself. So, yeah. But it is what it is. Let's move on. It's not doom and gloom here. It's great. Gaming's great, and there's more games to play than there ever has been, especially from when I was growing up, when you got 2-3 games a year.
Hey, let's look like the curveball on it. Oh shoot! Well, let's read the super chat, and then I want to let's
Hargeet never sleeps. No, he doesn't. Lord Ruffness with the
what is this sleep you talk of?
I know that doesn't exist in his world. If Sony have games this year, there be no rut. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I think he's right.
And then I guess
was that just first party, right? Because they have games. They have Final Fantasy.
They have
it's first
party.
It's
first party,
right?
The PS4 generation had so many for so long, so consistently.
Yeah.
That the fact that there just hasn't, like, I hear people saying all the time, "Oh, I got a PS5. I don't even know why." It's like, well, because there's been a fuck ton of really good games. That's why. Like, there's been a lot of fun stuff to play if you just look at the platform and not the first party. Like, the first party's been fine. But yeah, it's slowing down because their stuff takes forever to make. But like as a platform, there's just a ton to play everywhere. It's too much.
Yeah, 100%. Why So Serious says, Phil, make it happen. Put Hargeet's book in Game Pass. There you go.
That'd be something.
Just virtual.
It needs to be in his background. One of the favorite things in my life was seeing that book on his shelf. That was cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Cool. There you go. All right. So I guess speaking of Hargeet, welcome Hargeet, and let's take a few minutes to talk about your new book. I'm gonna put but actually it's already in the description, but I'm gonna put it in the chat as well. The link to purchase your book, and as well as you can talk about your book, how you came about it and everything, and then what it means to you to have it out now where people can actually check it out. We're excited for you, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on as soon as it actually became available. So thank you so much for making time to jump on with us tonight.
No, thanks for having me on. So essentially I created this concept for a game, which would have been a AAA, large, to take like a Mass Effect type level game, right? But I'm like, I'll never be able to make this, so I ended up just saying, all right, I'll make it into a book, right? And I'll put up what the thing is for it. Hopefully, it'll like become. There we go. So that's kind of the premise of it. So I'll leave that up, and basically, so I eventually just said, fine, I'll just make it into a book, and here it is. So. It became fuzzy. I don't know why. There we go.
65 million years ago, a meteor crashed into Earth, causing a mass extinction event that wiped out the dominant dinosaur species. But what if that didn't happen?
Yep.
There you go.
That's the start of it.
Yeah.
And then and then it goes from there. And so eventually, I decided I'll just do something with the story. And February onwards, I've been putting it together, and here it is. So.
I'll be right back, guys.
Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is awesome.
So hopefully people like it. I don't know, we'll see. A lot of the concept, like I had a whole bunch, I knew the beginning and ending and what was going to happen in between, but it was all about like you explore and you go find stuff, and then that way you learn more, right? And then you learn more by going exploring some other place. And now I had to make it linear, put it all together in an order, and it was kind of an interesting like conversion and thinking about how to make that happen. And it's my first foray into like storytelling in this way, right? So hopefully it's good. We'll see, but yeah, let's see what happens, and people like it, that'd be awesome. But we'll see.
Well,
Gotta check it out.
You're very creative, that's for sure, and so it's exciting to actually to read this. And I mentioned this to you in a private chat, I guess, on Discord. I'm a big. I love audiobooks just because I can listen while I'm working and things like that. So is that in the works? Is that something?
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is 2 options. One is going to just be me. I'm going to read it myself. And then I'll get another one where it's either maybe somebody from the community, somebody like Fonz, who actually does voice acting, or somebody else that has a good voice. There's plenty of no people,
dinosaurs.
Right? Exactly. Or I'll just pay somebody, right? There are like professional voice actors that do this, right? That do audiobooks. And
you could get. I don't know if you've heard Nick's reviews when he does them for us. Who talk like this? Hello, I'm Special Nick. Here's the review. How you doing? Welcome to Emergence. That'd be great.
Well,
Hargeet, people love an accent.
I need a little energy behind it.
I want to volunteer as tribute. I'm just kidding. In a world. Oh, I'm sorry. In
a world where PlayStation has no games.
Exactly. We're living that now. Anyway, reality.
Yes.
Welcome, Silent Cypher. Welcome. Oh my God, Red Dead Panda's here. There's so many other great members of the community. Thank you all so much for being here. But Hargeet, seriously, along with that, obviously you do have the book and then but you've got it. I think RHETRI, you said you purchased it directly from Amazon, and all the links are there too. And it's like there's a link in the description, actually twice, and there's also a link we thrown into the chat as well. But if you I want to talk about you do have some extra packages, I guess. We can get a signed copy because that's what I want to get. I want to get a signed copy, and then
you want Hargeet's package.
I do.
Pause.
Yeah, so
Hargeet special.
Oh my gosh. Yikes.
Pay extra for
that.
On
the site you can pick one of the bundles. It'll get you a signed copy along with some merch. You can just get the merch separately if you also want to, but also in that same site, I do have the links to the various stores, including Amazon. You could just go there directly and just buy the book. There's an ebook and physical copies with hardcover and paperback. So you're welcome to just get that. It's got a link to most of the countries that Amazon's in. So you can pick it up hopefully locally in those countries. The caveat for the book, for those who are not in the US, the shipping is going to be somewhat pricey, unfortunately, because it has to come to me first. I have to sign it and then ship it to you. So the shipping cost will be kind of a little high. So just keep that in mind for the bundles if you're not in the US.
I think John ended up owning 15 grand in shipping because we took too long. Yep. So we set the Patreon, we set the Kickstarter, everyone backed it. Then it took an extra year to finish the book. By then, shipping costs had gone up so much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Lesson learned, though, right, Jesse? Like, now you know.
Yeah, the 360 books are just going to be very expensive.
And then Sabriel says, just hired Jeff who?
Halo announcer.
Oh, well, there you go.
Spectacular.
I just like,
right. That would be great.
He does cameo. You just got to spend like 10 grand on cameos and have him do it a minute at a time.
The whole book. That would be funny. It'd be funny. So welcome out, Silent Cipher. It's good seeing you here, buddy. And of course, Viking is here. Black Viking is here from the Longhouse Gaming Podcast. We're hoping actually in the future to get the whole crew on as a guest. So that would be be epic. We're working on that, and we'll hopefully have that figured out in the next couple of weeks or so. That would be awesome. So yeah. So Hargeet, thank you so much for talking about your book, and of course we were welcome to stick around as long as you want, or the rest of the show if you want to. But I understand you've already been on for 2 hours, so I get it.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll stick around. It's fine.
If you're into talking gaming, which I know you are, then stick around. We'll have some fun. RHETRI, what have you got up next?
Boobies. We're gonna talk about boobies and Stellar Blade. Cancel me. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna talk about Stellar Games. We're gonna talk about Stellar Blade, and I mean, we talked about this last night, but this controversy with this game, obviously, and kind of like the sexualization of characters, right? So we've seen like people talking about different games. Pretty women versus like ugly women in video games. So I'm just curious, like, like one of the examples I can think of is like Fable. A lot of people were like, you know, she's an uggo on the Fable girl versus Stellar Blade. Obviously, you know, she's got less clothing, and it looks like it was kind of like a 1-for-1 of the actual actress that they put into the game. So Jesse, what do you think about this whole thing? Do you care about what a video game character looks like? Do you care that Stellar Blade kind of promised people she would look like one thing and then added a little bit of extra clothes or something? I don't exactly know all the details of why everyone's kind of losing their mind over Stellar Blade exactly, because it still looks like she's half naked to me, but what's your whole take on this sexualization in video games?
Cosmetic changes are extremely minor. She had one outfit where it was full busty, and then they put a little piece of lace there. Still very busty. She had another outfit where you could see the hip bones. They added a little bit of cloth. You can't see him as much. It's like a bathing suit. Like there's a little less blood when she goes through one of the bosses and like chops him in half. She's not covered in blood. She just has a bunch on her. That's about all I've seen. I think people keep throwing the word censorship around, and it's not what it used to be, where like a game would just have a naked character and then all of a sudden that character's got clothes on in a different scene. Like it's minor cosmetic differences in a game that is pushing. So if you read Gene Park, he reviewed the game. He's been going through it. He, talking about the Korean
Shout out to Gene.
developer and all the things they're going for. Like her sexuality is the thing she doesn't understand, but it's essentially playing off of the robot taxi thing that's going on there with like there's surface level reasons for why it's like that, and it's not Bayonetta, where like Bayonetta is just all about knowing she's super hot and all this type of stuff.
I'm glad you brought up Bayonetta, because that's where my mind
Bayonetta's
goes.
story
Bayonetta
is a Japanese developer making an English woman who's like owning her sexuality, and then Stellar Blade is a Korean developer making a Korean character who people want to conform to more Western ideals. And that's always what ends up happening is we're very influential, especially in America and other places. We're also, I think, more repressed in America than other places. And we just throw that on top of everyone and get annoyed when they don't go ahead with it. But on the whole, there isn't a controversy here. It's mostly grifters trying to push a narrative to get people to pay attention to them. So I don't give a shit about it.
Yeah, I mean, people are making like their YouTube channels based off of the controversy of this game, and I think some of them, I agree with you. There's a lot of grifters out there, but I actually think some of them really believe this shit. Like,
you've got the people who don't, and they influence people into thinking, "Oh shit, this is a big thing. I'm gonna raw."
I'm also angry for no reason. Yeah. I don't know, Pixel. What do you think about this thing? Here, let me get this out there right now. I'm okay with Stellar Blade. I'm okay with games the creator doing whatever the hell they want. If you know, we're adults here, right? And we're buying an adult game. I don't see an issue whatsoever with what Stellar Blade had originally, and I also don't see an issue with them covering up a little bit more. Whatever. I don't care that the girl in these games aren't pretty, but I also advocate for the fact that it's okay to have beautiful women in video games too, because it's fucking fantasy. Like I just don't understand what the big deal is, but that's just me. Pixel, go ahead. What's your take on this, brother?
So is this kind of like the whole Tifa thing too, right? There was a whole kerfluffle. The Tifa with
yeah.
The last
so the
Final
thing with
Fantasy,
her,
right?
there's a flashback, and she had a very revealing top, but then in the flashback,
They
she's like
changed
16.
it. Yeah,
So they
and
gave her a
changed
less
it,
revealing
right?
top.
So,
Yeah.
Like you ever
Good
seen the
point.
Stephen A. meme where he's like, I don't care.
No shit's coming here.
So like, who cares, bro? Like, so I played the demo of it, right? And it's like it starts off. She's basically in like this Horletta outfit on or whatever, and then it automatically transforms to the other outfit, right? The whole sex appeal of the character lasts for all the 5 minutes you play the game. I don't see how these people are all caught up in it. Like it matters, right? So it does. I'm a grown ass man. It just doesn't register for me. It just doesn't register. So I do get like the push against the uglification of female characters in video games in the US. I get it, right? I don't want to see ugly chicks in my games. I get it. You know what I'm saying? So I actually have some room to be on the side of people who have an issue with that part of it, but I don't have room for the side of people who are like, oh my god, she's not scantily dressed enough. The same people who lost their mind when MK actually started dressing their characters, right? It's a video game. So while I get it, I get like you want this extra thing, and if they do give it to you, great. But come on, you're never getting what's that beach volleyball game we had back?
Dead or Alive.
Yeah, you're never getting another Dead or
That's
Alive.
what I was talking about last night was Dead or Alive.
It's just not happening again, bro. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
The best Jello effects in the business, Dead or Alive.
The massive attention to jiggle figures, right? And look, there was a time for that, and that stuff was all fun, right? And I get it. If you're young and you feel a way about this, you have an excuse, right? You're young. You ain't getting to work like
full
everybody,
of piss
like
and vinegar.
Other people are. Yeah, you got a lot of extra energy for bullshit. I get it, right? But if you're an adult, if you're a grown man,
I like how you said that. Extra energy for bullshit
over this, bro. Yeah, I'm not gonna say touch grass, man. Touch something with no G and no R. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. This is a fucking video.
Yeah, there you go.
But it is funny seeing them lose their mind over it because it keeps happening. And I'm like, listen, it's going to keep happening because
it's going to keep happening.
Like there's just limits to how much stuff they're going to allow nowadays. It is what it is. And every now and again, you'll get a breakout game that does something like this game where they put all the attention in the jiggle physics. And actually, the funny shit is
10 times.
The funny thing is that the game there's like a full second delay anytime you take an action in the game, right? The block is delayed.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, the block is delayed. The sword attack is delayed. The devs said that's on purpose. I'm like, no, it's not. It's because you spend so much time on jiggle physics that you don't have enough frame time to get the action out of the top. You got to stop the jiggles in order for me to swing my sword. Listen, I'd rather be able to swing my sword. That's just me, right? So, but like to each his own, man. If that shit is really that important to you, bro, boycott it or buy the disc, right? It just don't
I guess we'll find out when it comes to PC, right? Whether it's actually.
Hey! Have you seen the Street Fighter 5 mods? Like, have you seen them?
No, I haven't. I'm guessing they're pretty much naked.
Pretty much naked. They are so out of pocket on PC. Like
it's why Capcom has gone so against and start trying putting a bunch of DRM and stuff in there because they were like, you guys just keep modding the weirdest shit.
They bastardized Part 5 so bad that I was like, some of the stuff you're like, bro, who's playing with this? You know what I'm saying?
There was the famous clip, the guy who was hosting like a local tournament and he had his new Chun-Li mod on. It's on Twitter. You can find it. It's funny.
Okay. I think I remember seeing that actually.
Yeah. So he's like, everyone's just like, oh no, because they know it's going to piss off Capcom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really embarrassing.
Let me read this real quick, and I'll go to you, Hargeet. Is saying what the real problem is that the lead specifically stated the game would ship uncensored, yet when it released, it was censored. The main thing that I see people upset about is just the false advertising kind of thing. And that's fine. Like, and you can be mad about that. I guess I'm kind of like Pixel. I don't know. I'm too old to give a shit about it that much, but. If you want to stand on that ground, it's I see. I knew when you said about the swing of the sword, someone wouldn't let that go.
Good happen, yeah.
Silent Cyber with the $2. Hashtag swing my sword.
If you're swinging your sword in real life, you don't give a shit.
Yeah. He's not wrong.
And as I say that, one of the kids just visited.
Yeah. Exactly.
Look, okay, taking it from the perspective of what they advertised and what you got. Okay, is this legit? Maybe it is. But come on, is this really that big a deal? Look, if I had to say,
minor.
Right, if I had to say false advertising, anytime you see a trailer for a game, is that false advertising?
Of course it is. Are you kidding?
That's all.
I mean, right? Like, the game never looks that, except for Hellblade. The game never looks that good.
Is your video game box console box?
All I'm gonna say is The Division.
Yeah, I mean, it's like every single time, right? We see these beautiful CGI trailers, and then you look at the actual game. You're like, Avowed, right? Remember that awesome, beautiful trailer? Is that what the game looks like? No. Like, is that false advertising? Come on, like, all right. So, is there some legitness to, like, there's censorship? Maybe there is somebody pushing that they should change those things, and they change them. I don't know. And I guess if you're going to advertise that you didn't do that, maybe that is the fail, that you should just never say that kind of thing. And because look, ultimately, even like the hard R thing, right? That's censorship, but it's real. Like, there's just no legit reason not to fix it, right? There's like, why not? Just, like, what is central to the game with that? Nothing. Like, so is it censoring? Maybe it is, but who cares? You just fix it. It's just not that big a deal to fix it, right? So, like, it was just making statements like that just brings trouble, right? You just never make hard ass statements that we're never going to do it. Like, just let it go. Just say we're putting the game out that we want to put out.
It's a very specific thing in Japan.
It just goes away.
I think they're called Zero. Like, they do heavily censor stuff, like not letting Dead Space come out. Like, that's actually what they would do. They wouldn't say add lace. They would say it's not coming out. Like, they're not. It's like when people think, like, most of these decisions are almost always just the developer. It's not someone external. Like, the game's out. It was in the demo. They've made a choice. Oh, we want to put a piece of lace here. Oh, we're going to change this a little bit. We don't like it. Like, it's not government censorship hitting a game, though that actually does happen quite often.
Yeah, no, if there were censorship here, it would probably be Sony, right? So it's either the developer themselves said, we changed our mind, or it's Sony coming in and saying, we don't like this. Can you fix that? And I think that's where there's annoyance. Again, it's so minor. Is this really that big a deal? Like, if you really have to have campaigns about something, there's so many more useful things in the world. But, okay, fine. If you're going to get pissed off about something, fine. But as far as, like, actual nudity and, like, do you remember Cyberpunk? And you had, like, things just swinging around. You remember, like, Baldur's Gate 3? There's plenty of things going on
Baldur's
there.
Gate
like,
is probably the best example.
I'm just saying, like, The Last of Us 2 had a full-on sex scene. I'm like, do we really have to litigate this shit? Like, I don't know where this stuff is coming from.
Heavily censored in Japan. Like, it is not the same game there. You don't
some reason
almost any
playing
of that.
Baldur's Gate 3, that song, The Bare Necessities, pops up in my head.
You just couldn't help yourself.
I couldn't help myself.
He's like,
now you got it staying in your head, don't you? We got a super chat. Let's read that real quick.
Angry Hippie, thank you for $5 and making me say this. I want pepperoni and roast beef with my stellar yams. God damn you, sir.
Nice.
Hey, to each their own. He knows what he wants. Go ahead, Hargeet.
See, I don't know how to really react to this one. It just seems so minor. It's like, so they changed some outfits. Like, do they have that skin suit? Tell me that isn't as ridiculous as it gets, and you still have it. Have they taken it away? No. Just wear the stupid skin suit.
That
enjoy.
outfit is not combat certified. Just saying.
No.
A lot of people are saying like this is new or this sets a bad precedent. And like, man, where have you been the last 34?
Yeah, I mean, it's not new. It's definitely not new.
I mean, the fact that they at least left like the voluptuousness and all that in there, like fine. It is what it is, right? It's there. That's their culture. They like to do it that way. Fine. Let them do that. I see no issue with that. If they change the clothing a little bit, fine. But honestly, once you see that stupid skin suit, I am done listening to anything else because that is as ridiculous as I've seen. You might as well just say there's nothing on. Here you go.
Yep.
Just play without anything on.
Yep.
It's that freaking close. So
yeah,
if you
I mean,
have
it
that
tricked me
one,
when I saw it on Twitter, I'm like, she's already naked. And I'm like, wait, no, there's clothes there. Like that's what I thought when I saw that.
There are clothes. Anyway, so whatever. Like, so they changed some of these other outfits slightly. Like, I'm just not up in arms about this. Like, I just whatever. So if people like want to be annoyed about it, fair enough. But I can't be that pissed off about something like this.
Yeah, I think Jesse, his camera froze. He's gonna jump back on here. And
Jump back in. Yeah, I'm much more annoyed when it's like, hey, central characters aren't going to be there because blah, right? Like you know, I think Jesse was saying that they will censor stuff in Japan. They will censor stuff across the world, right? Like there's a lot of countries where LGBT stuff will just be censored out, or where black people will be censored out in China or something like that, right? It's like, that's much more of a thing to go fight for than this skimpy outfit isn't as skimpy as you want. It's like, okay, fine. If you feel like it's a big deal, they're offering you to get a refund, go get your refund and move on. Otherwise, just enjoy the yams that you already have.
Yeah, I think I would more be interested in a refund because the dialogue is so bad. Like, it's just
the
gameplay seems good.
The voice acting is egregious.
The voice acting and the writing's really bad. And coming off of things like Liza P, which had very good voice acting and writing. I know some people are all about gameplay. Even there, after trying it out in the demo, I'm like, it's okay. But also, there's too much running around. Like there are other legitimate criticisms to have outside of slight alterations to like 2 cosmetics.
Yeah, fair enough. Dave, what's your well, let me get Silence super chat first. $5 says it's always interesting to see people censor or revoke access to content. The more you censor, maybe the more people will seek it out. When will they learn? Yeah, I agree. Like what's funny is like usually when you come across situations like this and people are like, I'm boycotting it, blah blah. Those are usually the games that sell best because it's like you're telling me not to get it. Now I'm gonna get it. Like you're telling me not to get Hogwarts because XYZ. Now I'm buying Hogwarts, best-selling game of last year. Just saying.
Ship a million.
So it happens. It happens. Back says Skippy outfit, whatever, but are the jiggle physics on point? That's what I don't know. That's what really matters, right? Yeah. I don't know. It's just a weird conversation.
Apparently, they will get you on point if that's your thing.
Yeah. Damn you. There you go, Dave. What's your 2 cents about this? Like censorship in gaming and sexualization of these characters, and what's your take on this, man?
I mean, obviously, I think the things shouldn't be censored, but there are definitely certain areas, certain parts of the world that if you want your game to come out, you have to censor it, or it's just not going to happen. I mean. An example of censorship is that the good old classic the band Kiss, and their logo was designed a certain way, but in Germany you have to change the way the S and the S are put together because it looks too much like the SS symbols that the Nazis used. But it's not, and it wasn't meant that way. And even in the early drawings of it, it doesn't show across that way. But yet it's similar enough that they actually. So I actually have a special German release album of Kiss. It was only released in Germany with some of their mix songs and stuff on it. But it has the different S's on it, and it's it's kind of a little collector's thing that I've got, but it's kind of cool to me. But that's just the way it is. There's certain songs, certain things that are they're just not prevalent in different countries. There's some countries that you can't talk about someone's religion or ethnic preferences or sexuality preferences. Some countries, if you come out as gay, you get stoned to death, and that's just
Right.
and it's horrific. But that's the way that they are in that country, and it's at some point, if you want your product to be out, you have to do it, or skip that country altogether. That's basically the way things are. So I'm not trying to get political with this or anything like that, but it's just there is some extremes to everything, and it's really depends on if it's not for you and it's something that you don't like, don't buy it, stay away from it, skip it, go on to the next.
Absolutely. It's almost like there's a million other games to play. Like if this is, you know what I mean? You got choices.
Yeah,
you
got
can
some
say,
choices
screw
out
you,
there,
Stellar
absolutely.
Blade.
You've got a lot of real skimpy outfits for her still, trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From what I
you
saw,
do.
yeah. So if that's your thing and that's one of the reasons you were buying it, I think it's still there for you, man.
Yeah. So get the Resident Evil on PC and a lot of mods you'll have a lot of fun with.
Yeah. There you go. Dave knows.
You can have Thomas the Tank Engine chase you in Resident Evil 3.
You said it.
I did.
What do you guys think about the Metacritic score? I think I love to hate on Metacritic, but sitting at an 82 for Stellar Blade, and I know there was some comparisons, because obviously there was some comparisons to now 80s are a good game. They're always a good game, in my opinion. That's a great score. But I think it was compared to Starfield sitting at an 83, and you got Stellar Blade out here sitting at an 82. Probably will be inducted into Game of the Year conversation. But what do you guys think about that? The whole Metacritic thing. People talking about Stellar Blade 82 versus Starfield being an 83. I'll start with you, Jesse.
Well, you know my feelings on the pointlessness of aggregation sites.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Like, you can look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth right now. I think it's like a 93 on OpenCritic. I think most games that end up going above 90 are generally from Japan. It's just the way that it gets covered. It's always personal preference. It's always what genre do you like. It doesn't actually matter. Comparing even games within the same scope, like comparing Stellar Blade to Lies of P, they're both almost the exact same score. Just because, who knows? Just because people pulled a bunch of scores out of their ass, threw it against the wall, then people come in later and influence it generally one way or the other. Like Starfield was an 87 to start with and then got dragged down hard, mainly by the people they didn't send codes to early because they knew they'd do it, from an 87 down to an 83. Like, there's way too much importance put onto scores. I'm not saying they're useless. I'm just saying they're right next to useless. Like there's useless here, and then scores are a little above it to give you the most.
The scotch.
Yeah, like the tiniest amount of knowledge about if you would like a game or not, which is what most reviews are supposed to be. It's like a mix of the person who played its subjective feelings and then objective fact that you can weave in to try and keep it interesting and let people know this is what this game is. If you know me at all, you know how I generally feel about things. But outside of that, in the end, I'm not going to be able to tell you if you like something or not. And it's just the easiest engagement is always A versus B. And so every time something comes out, like Fallout couldn't be great and people talked about Fallout, people had to then compare it to Halo. And it's like, it's the easiest thing. And it doesn't make any sense. They're completely different things on different networks with different goals and budgets. And that's what every game like this is. Like Starfield was a bigger budget game from a more well-known developer who used to always get 90s, but no one gets 90s anymore. 90s are exceedingly rare. And people want to go, well, these games used to get 96s and now they got an 83. And it's like, yeah, but who cares? I don't. And I'm in that friggin' list of people that influence the score the tiniest little amount, no matter what Jason Schreier wanted to say. We did not prop up Starfield. None of our reviews matter for any site that says Xbox in it, especially because none of us were top critics on OpenCritic. So yeah, I'd say it's stupid. It's
do you think? But here's my question, kind of like almost as a rebuttal to that. But do you think there's a lot of people out there outside of the hardcore that are paying attention to they just skip everything you're saying in a review. They just go right to the score, and they base their purchasing decisions on the score itself. Do you think there's still a large audience who does that? Because I do think there was a large audience who used to do that back in the day, and I wonder if there's still a large audience that just does that now to this day.
More
with
influenced by streamers and TikTok than by review scores, I would say. Like one big streamer is more influential than 20 IGNs, and that pisses everyone off in the industry. But it's like they're a mix of entertaining and very good at games. And growing up, I always got annoyed and didn't pay attention to reviewers, because when I finally got to see them play stuff, when the internet became big, it's like most of them are terrible. It's like it makes me care way less about what they think. And so then when you follow someone whose entire thing is being entertaining while being great at games, I think that ends up being far more influential. And if it's, most people are just on TikTok and following trends there half the time, which is why Xbox is so heavily invested in marketing there.
Well, maybe not for much longer. That's another discussion. Good luck, TikTok. I'm good luck, guys. Pixel Bit, what about you on the whole score of Stellar Blade? 82, Starfield 83, bad, but 82 good for Stellar Blade. What do you think? Or Stellar
I think Stella is a recipient of a little bit of Sony boosting, and which is kind of expected. We see these people dropping out 90 scores for this game. I mean, like I said, I played the demo. It's decent, but when your game is designed with a delay in it, and then you say, "Oh yeah, it's a design
It's a feature,
choice.
not a bug."
So I'm immediately ignoring anyone that gave it a 90 just based on that alone, right? It's a bad design, right? There are other decent features of the game, right? But like visually, everything around her doesn't look as good as some folks want to claim. Right, it does look very lashing at times, right? But people, they some of these sites literally just throw a score out there, and it's like, bam, right, whatever. But I think the real score for this game will be the sales. Let's see how it does. Right, let's see if all the conversation carries it into the top 10 for the year, anywhere near. Right, that's if you want to compare it to Starfield, you got to at least be in the top 10 conversation of games sold and played for the year. If you're not, then your 82 ain't the same as that 83, right? That's just reality. So it's stupid for people to try to make that comparison, like, oh, look at this. They're not the same kind of games, right? It's
very different.
It's easier to take a massive game that has a lot of systems and try to nitpick systems to try to drive a score down, compared to a game that is simpler, which this is. Right? The design of this game is very straightforward. Right? They have an open world. You do some actions. You go to cutscenes. It's not like, right? They don't have a bunch of systems running around. They don't have characters doing stuff. Like it's not an RPG. Right, so it's just, it's very hard to try to compare games that are not in the same genre to each other for that reason, right? Because they're just not designed the same. They don't have the same design goals. So, hey, it's a good score for this game. I don't think it's comparable to a Starfield. It's not worth the conversation for people who want to bring it up. But again, for those who want to make it into a conversation, let's see how it goes at the end of the year. Let's see if it's in the top 10 list. Let's see if it's even the top sold game this year, this month. It's release month or not, right? I mean, that will tell you if it's a worthy comparison to even begin with. But for my money, I say you don't compare this game. It's an indie game, right? It's an indie game, right? Compare it on its own merits. Compare it against games that are closer to it in genre, right? Compare it to a Souls game. Compare it to somebody just mentioned the one earlier, the
Liza
indie
P?
game. Yeah, Liza P, right? Compared to that kind of game, because that's the genre and style of game it is, and you can make a really clean, direct comparison of those two games. But so this is one of those console war comparisons for.
No, this is a console war thing. I mean, I bring it up because it was really about people saying, "Oh, 82 is okay now." That's where it was coming at, because there was a lot of conversation about 83 being like trash, and I'm like, oh my god, here we go. Because games in the 70s, I'm loving. Like Tales of Kanzara, like I said, 77 right now. It's one of my favorite games of the year. So I think it was more brought up as ammunition from Xbox guys that were just like, oh, this is okay now, right? Like, one of those types of scenarios. I don't know if I saw anyone directly comparing Starfield itself to Stellar Blade as game for game. I think it was all more based on the score, the gotcha moment.
It was the Metascore score comparison, but again, right? It's a dumb comparison because they're just not similar games, right? They're not similar in scope. So that number. What's the word? What's the phrase? Your enjoyment may vary, right? I mean, it's just one of those
levels
things,
of this
right?
shit.
Yeah, there's definitely levels to that shit. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, it's all it's all good for folks who want to make the comparison. But like I said, you're setting yourself for ass whooping later in the year, because people are gonna remember that comparison, and then when this game falls off the map, guess what? The receipts are going to be all in 4K. So I would not want to be that person. So it is.
Hargeet, just really quickly, he's like, where is that? I have it over here. There it is. This levels of this shit. What's your take on this, Hargeet, about the whole score thing of the 82 Stellar Blade versus
Yeah, I mean, look, so Open Critic. I tend to use that more than Metacritic, but Starfield's an 85, Stellar Blade's an 82, Ghost of Tsushima's an 84. I mean, Ghost of Tsushima is my top, PlayStation game, and it's an 84. It's not a 90 something. Does that mean it's a bad game? I mean, I just don't like Jesse was saying, these numbers are just so whatever. Unfortunately, so the problem though is, there's so many games out there. We do tend to look at these numbers and say, am I going to even engage with this? If it was a 50, would you engage with it?
That's what I'm getting at. No, I probably wouldn't. I honestly, I know Metacritic doesn't matter, but if I see a 50, it does matter, because I'm automatically ignoring it. I'm automatically ignoring it, guys. I'm sorry. You could say it doesn't matter all you want, but if I see in a 50 as an overall average from the 200 plus people, reviewers, I'm not touching it.
But here's the thing: if the game,
unless it's a Game Pass,
right? Exactly, right. So that's just a matter of access, right? If the game is in Game Pass, then you automatically ignore the score, because I can just download it. Yes, but if a game is $50,
that's a fact,
and it gets a bad score, I might buy it, because $50 doesn't hurt,
because it's cheaper. Yeah,
it's cheaper. But if it's 70 and you get a 50, then it's like, bro. So you need that 70, because even at a 70. 470, your brain is saying, I might have to wait on that, right? And that's a sale. And reviewers know that there is some cost to it. And while for long-time gamers it doesn't matter, it really doesn't, because we generally will decide on a game based on a trailer, right? We old school. We don't really wait for the reviews. By the time the review came out, the game is probably in my hand already, right? For us. Or at least was already ordered or whatever, right? But it impacts casually. It impacts people who don't they trust those reviews, right? So there is
they're going to look at those, right? And I do agree that it's also shifting more to trusted YouTubers, TikTokers, things like that, because there's a little, I don't know, at least with the media, there's just a little bit of distrust, right? That you're actually going to get an actual read. So you do a lot of times it is a good review, but it's just if you know the taste of a certain reviewer, you're just going to latch onto that and say, well, if they like it, I'm probably going to like it. And usually they're better at it, but it's not always the case, right? And so you usually can take some of those and say, okay, I can kind of base it on that and say, I'll try this one or not. Right. So I think that does matter. But so the review scores in aggregate, it's an actual, relevant point as far as somebody's looking at it and saying, am I going to buy this or not? If the review score is very low, if it gets into
right.
that area where it's like 75 or higher,
Yeah.
then you probably
it's
want to
different.
go delve in. Is it going to be some, you know, some reviewer out there, you're going to watch them say, well, I did these things, I found these things. The reason it's a 75 is because of like glitches or, you know, things that are, you know, graphically not that great. And you're like, well, I don't care about that. If it's glitches, I can wait for a patch, right? You know, that's not as big of a deal. But if it's like the game itself had no depth, no story, and that was what they were selling, like, okay, well, that kind of sucks. I don't want to buy it then, right? Yeah, it's that kind of thing. Or you find parts of the gameplay loop are just boring. Like there's parts that are awesome, but then there's like a whole stretch in the middle where it's just boring. And they're like, okay, well, I'll have to make a value judgment. Do I want to waste my time or not? Right? Those kind of things where it becomes more useful to you as to make that, you know, do I want to get this or not? Right. But so those scores, like as far as the 82 for Stellar Blade, I get like anything in the 80s is actually really good. It's generally pretty good, but like we've gotten used to this, you know, because of console wardness, that we've gotten into this idea that if it's not a 90, then it's not a good game, right? And it's like, well, that's I point out Ghost of Tsushima is my favorite PlayStation game, and it's an 84. That does not make it a bad game. It's a really, really good game. So I don't know why I need to think that that was not good enough. I think it is great. And I don't know what the specific issues were with people that didn't give it a 90, but they didn't. And fair enough. To me, that game is fantastic. I'd give it a 10. It was just unbelievable. The only gripe I had was that it made you not like stealth killing, because that was part of their game, like the samurai code. And I'm like, well, but that's what I want to do.
It's probably why I love that game so much. Not a big stealth person, so I don't know. So, I'm with you on that.
But yeah, so like fantastic. Like love that game, right? So, but and it's an 84. Like so, and I guess for that stupid console wariness, Starfield's an 85. Right. And I love that game too. I had a few more gripes on that one, but I'd give that like a 95. I thought it was fantastic. But the gripes I have for other people's, those gripes like are much bigger. Like the base building stuff, like, meh, I don't care about this. The ship building stuff, like, meh, I got ships that like, I got from missions that were really, really good. And I could just use those and I'm happy. Right. Like, but some people, that's like what they want to do. And it's like, well, okay, for you, that's going to suck because it's just not that fleshed out. But for me, that wasn't the problem. And like, there was way more than enough content for me. So I was happy with the game, but other people weren't, right? They want to go to a random planet and they want like the whole planet to be fleshed out. I'm like, okay, that would have taken 400 years. Like, I don't think, like, what are you talking about? Like, so I don't know. So fine. If that's what people want, they want that. That's great. That was not what I wanted. I just let the game come to me and it gave me so much to do. And I'm like, this is great. So it's fun. But so that's the thing. So these scores really just depend on your enjoyment of the game, right? So you know, you're just gonna have to find reviewers that you kind of latch onto that say, I like the kind of games they like. Cool. I'll take their word for it versus like a score alone. But I think at a certain point, if that comes in at like 60, comes in at 40, you're gonna ignore that game. That's just the way it is, right? So it doesn't matter. But after a certain level, then it's a filter of, okay, it's reasonably good. Then what do I look at to say yes or no for me? And that's going to be talking like watching content that you think is going to give you that assurance that this is the right thing for you or not, right? So, but yeah, it's always going to be a controversy because of platform exclusivity, which kind of sucks, right? It takes away the hey, there's a game. It's a fun game. Do you want to play the game? Like this game is all about controversy, Stellar Blade, instead of just like the game, right? Which like we rarely talk about. Is the game good? Is the story good? No, we're talking about it has this stupid controversy. It has that controversy, and Sony should have done better. Or it's like, oh, okay. We just talk about the game. But anyway, but that's what happens, right? So. I don't know. The whole meta thing is it is what it is, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it just it feels archaic, the whole Metacritic score, and I just wish it would go away. I that's why I moved over to guys like SkillUp and ACG many years ago. And it's the thing is, like, to Hargeet's point, you got to find someone you trust. So if you don't like the same games that ACG likes, then you find someone else to go to XboxEra. Maybe Jesse's taste is more, in line with your own. That's what I think you should do, and kind of try to ignore scores as much as you can. But it's just like,
and that, by the way,
to
that
them.
point is why like a GameSpot or an IGN or one of those don't work. And why is because they have so many different reviewers that you can't necessarily know that a 7 at IGN for one game is vastly different than a 7 for another game, because the reviewers are different and they have different tastes and different rating mechanics, right? So, or rating rules, right? And so it's very hard to know. If I know what Jesse likes, I can say, okay, based on this, he's gonna rate it. Okay, I get it. Like, this is what he likes, and that's why it's rated this way, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if it's a random IGN person, I don't know what they like and don't like, and it's like it's hard to tell. Is this 7 the same as another 7, or is this 7 totally different from another 7? They have a whole bunch of 10s, and you're like, well, is that 10 really the same as this 10? Right? Is this 10 the same as that 8? Right? I don't know who the person is, so it's very hard to relate to that, right? So unless you could say, I know this person at IGN, and I know what their taste is like, right? Or GameSpot or wherever, right? Whichever one of those sites, right? That's where it becomes more challenging with media. Whereas you can just say, I know ACG, right? I know what he likes. Cool.
Right.
So
you can almost predict. I mean, if you're watching these guys long enough, you can almost predict. Like, if I watch Jesse long enough, I can almost predict if he's going to like a game. You know what I mean? Usually, like, I'm like, yep, they're going to like this game because they really like this type of genre, and it fits with their type of style and stuff. So, but that to teach their own. I know Meta gets a lot of hate. I think it kind of deserves it. I just think it's a broken system. It's an archaic system. It's an old system. It's just one that we're used to and one that we've been using for so long. I just wish it would go away. But like Jesse said, like that's what the people look at. Like the numbers, that's what people keep looking at. That you got to have those numbers, and I don't know. Maybe sometime in the future we'll see what happens. But Dave, what about you, man? You got anything you want to add to this thing while we wrap the show up, or?
Great points from everybody on the panel, and again, welcome out to the over 320 people watching us either on X or on YouTube. We greatly appreciate that so much, and appreciate the panel being here tonight and giving the great insights and their points and everything too. Because I love the perspective of this community. It's an amazing community that we have here, and Rich, anything else you want to touch on before we wrap this up?
No, I think that's it. I want to try, I don't want to go too long here. We're about at the 2-hour mark. I know some people got to work. So yeah.
I do have to work and have to get a shower before work tonight. A little grimy from working in the yard today. Ew.
There you go.
But yeah, So as we we'll go around the horn, then let's get to Jesse Norris, thank you so much for being here, sir. And please tell everybody where they can reach you, where they can find out of you, and when the latest and greatest and the new reviews you got coming up.
Pretty much everything's always at XboxEra.com. Our main thing we push is either the website, because we're actually on a good ad provider now. So if you view the website, we make a lot of money. Just browsing, you don't have to spend a penny. But if you want to be like XboxEra patron MVP Hargeet Chani, you can go to patreon.com/XboxEra, and you can join us there, because that really keeps it so we never have to go into any clickbait or anything. We're getting lightly into listicles, but they're not front-facing on the site. You will literally only ever find them if you search that term on Google, which way more people do than I thought. But yeah, XboxEra.com. I have Indica. Very weird turn of the century, not 20th century alt Russian history nun game. Then Little Kitty Big City, real jump. Hoping to have some coverage of Hades 2, because they did say that their early access would be shortly after the tech test ended, which it just did. So those are my next 3, and then later in the month we will of course have Hellblade 2 from site co-founder John Clark. So thank you.
Nice. Good stuff, Jesse.
Thanks for being here, buddy. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And then we've got Pixelbit. Pixelbit, man. Tell everybody where they can reach you, where they can where you're going to be, and again, thank you so much for being here. We keep having you back because we enjoy your insight and your viewpoint, and it's great having you on. So Pixelbit, please tell everybody where they can reach out to you.
Thank you, man. You normally you can find me on Twitter, being slanderous,
Talking that shit. Yeah.
getting my enjoyable TTSing on. If I'm not inflaming some freaking nerd's attitude online, every now and again you can see me on this show and other shows. So you'll see me around. You'll see me around. I did have to actually start my own channel at the beginning of the year, but then life and reality set in, and guess what? I had to fall back on that real quick. So, but
It happens.
as always, man, I appreciate the invite, and when I can show up, I show up. So, always a pleasure,
man.
We do appreciate that so much, and when I have a feeling eventually you're going to get that back on track, and when you do, let us know, and we'll make sure we push and promote that as well. Your show.
Absolutely.
I actually watched a few of those, and I thought they were very well done. So definitely don't give up on the dream, man. Definitely keep pushing forward for sure.
Yes, sir.
And then Hargeet, Chani, thank you so much for jumping on. Long night for you, and thank you so much for being here. And tell everybody about where they can reach out to you on Discord. And then I'm also going to put the link again to your book. Tell everybody all about that and where all the different, and I mean a lot of different places that they can see you online.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Check out my book if you want to pick it up. Shop.chani.us. And then as far as reaching me, I am not on Twitter, but I am on Discord and Xbox. Chani is my my tag on both of those. And then I will be on next. It should be Boom's Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, primetime gaming podcast, followed by C Money and Doodles Night Shift, which is on point for gamers. That's the channel. That's 6 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Friday, and then back to Sunday's Games Talk Live with Fonz at Fonz Gaming at 6 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, right before you guys go online with yours.
Right.
So check that out on Fonz Gaming, and always check out Game On Daily. So youtube.com/Game On Daily, and we have our Go Live podcast at 4 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Saturdays. And I was on yesterday, and so we had some fun topics and fun discussions there as well.
Awesome.
Sure
And I put the link in the description, and it's also in the description of the video. If you're listening later on audio, it's definitely there as well too. To where you can reach out to every single one of these fine gentlemen, and also where you can find Hargeet's book. The link is right there to it. So yeah, we'll definitely do that. And Zappo, unfortunately, we didn't get to all the topics, and that was definitely one that we might touch on.
We can touch on that next week if you want.
But we do appreciate that you being here. If you don't mind, Retri, before we get your outro, let's read that super chat from
Silent Cypher with $2 says, "Thanks for the continued content. You all rock." Thank you, Silent. Appreciate you, brother. We got to play some games again soon, man. I miss you. So for me, you guys obviously can find me Game Pass _daily on Twitter, Game Pass Daily on YouTube, and you can watch our new show, which airs every Saturday at 7 p.m. with Red Dead Panda and Next Gen Nero. That's the Aim Down Sights podcast. That was last night at 7 p.m. We had Hargeet on with us and Jay Duke. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. We talk a lot of shit over there. It's just this community is the best. They really are. I love the Xbox community. I'll always stand by that. I bleed green, and just the way it is. And I love Game Pass. So thank you guys all for coming out tonight. Chat was on fire as usual. And thank you for all of our guests, man. Jesse, Pixelbit, and Hargeet, of course. Love you. You guys are so knowledgeable, man. I appreciate you guys sharing your time with us. And adorable cat there, Jesse, too.
It's the Xbox Communicitty.
Communicated.
Perfect. That's it.
Yeah.
Love it. Guys, thanks again for joining us. And hopefully in the next, I don't think next week, but maybe the week after next or the week after that, we're going to have, we're working on getting the entire cast of the Longhouse podcast on. That's right. So it'll be the Black Viking and his crew. Well, hopefully all of them will be here as our guests, and I'm looking forward to that. So and we're still working on our show for next week, so we'll definitely have some guest announcements here probably in the next couple of days. So again, thank you all so much for joining us. We greatly appreciate you being here. If you don't mind, hit the like button on your way out. Share this out to friends, relatives.
Please do.
Just kidding. Whatever you can do.
Here you go, Grandma. You're welcome.
Exactly. Here, Grandma, you're gonna love this.
Stellar boobies. What?
Crazy kids.
Sorry, Grammy.
That's it.
Yeah. Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
I have no idea why it had to be snakes. But anyway, thanks for joining us here on the Gamers Council.